С удовольствием приглашаю Рубена Ламиряна к продолжению дискуссии. Он будет говорить, скорее всего, о текущих вызовах внешней политики Армении, опять же, учитывая российскую составляющую, европейскую, американскую, видите, даже китайскую. Пожалуйста, Рубен.
Слышно? Спасибо, Армен Размикович, спасибо, панель, за возможность прежде всего выступить. Также хотелось бы поздравить РАУ с проведением такого важного мероприятия. Я перейду на английский, презентация на английском. The topic of the research, which I'm going to present, is Armenia on the crossroads of the Eurasian geopolitics, US, EU, Russia, and China. So, brief overview of what I'm going to talk about during the upcoming 10-15 minutes. So, it's global context and its regional implications, actors of shifting geopolitics and Armenia, concentration and focus on 4 stakeholders in our region, so it's US, EU, Russia, and China, and comparison of their interests. Finally, discussion and the question, can Armenia become a hub for the Eurasian cooperation, and conclusions. Oops. Sorry for this. Okay, global context and its regional implications. Everyone these days in international relations knows that the world order, global order, or international relations in general, they are changing. However, the main question most of the specialists, experts, and professors in the field are asking, what is the new phase of the world which is going to be, let's say, in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? And in this regard, there are, let's say, a bunch of terms which are trying to describe what's going on the ground. So it's new world order, world disorder, polycentric world, or multipolar world, or non-polar world. And what is important if we try to reflect the above on the reality of Armenia, if small states in the changing global and regional environment, is it inevitable to make the choice? And here I mean the geopolitical choice. So the actors of shifting geopolitics and Armenia, I'm going to focus on 4 actors which are present in our region. I will go through in alphabetical order. So it's China, European Union, Russia, and the United States of America. So let's start with China. This is the map of Belt and Road Initiative. Let's say official map presented by Beijing in 2017 in May. And as we can see on the map, neither Armenia nor the South Caucasus is not present on the map. This is one thing to remember. The next thing, I'm going to jump into figures and try to understand what kind of economic cooperation is there among Armenia and China. So it's export dynamics from Armenia to China, as we see. So why 2009, 13, and 15, 17? I will explain briefly. So 2009, start of Eastern Partnership Program of the EU. 2013, launch of the Belt and Road Initiative. 2015, Eurasian Economic Union. And 2017 is the freshest data I was able to, I managed to get. So as we see, till 2015, there is a rather rapid increase in export dynamics between Armenia and China. From 2015, it goes down. When it comes to import dynamics, so there is gradual rise whenever we are talking about import dynamics from China to Armenia. And whenever we are talking about foreign direct investments from China, honestly speaking, it's miserable. So it's, it used to be 4 million USD, now it's 3 to 3.5 million USD. However, China is constructing the second largest in post-Soviet area embassy in Yerevan after Moscow one. Armenia is constructing a highway to connect Persian Gulf with Black Sea and beyond, with potential to join the Belt and Road Initiative. And there is a potential project to connect the already connected railroads of China, Central Asia, and Iran with Georgian one through Armenia. So thus, concluding this part, we can say that it could be concluded that even though currently China doesn't demonstrate strategic interest towards Armenia, however, there is some rise, and particularly in economic and political fields. On the other hand, based on the current dynamics, this cooperation has the potential to evolve into more strategic relations in the upcoming years. And last but not least, China is interested in strategic stability in the region, which potentially might intersect and currently neighbors with the Belt and Road Initiative. The second actor I'm going to stop is European Union, and the main format of cooperation between the EU and Armenia is Eastern Partnership Program. I will not stop on the details. It was launched in 2008, officially presented in 2009. It includes 6 states, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Georgia, Moldova, and Ukraine. So, main focus of Eastern Partnership Program: trade, comprehensive institution building program, supporting mobility of citizens and visa liberalization, as well as energy security. And all of these focuses, they are reflected in cooperation between the EU and Armenia. Yes, and what is interesting, I was doing a research in Hungary in 2017, and whenever I was talking to experts on the EU and Eastern Partnership Program, my impression was that the EU, Brussels, and experts on the ground, they are no longer interested in continuation of the program. However, there was a fresh air in 2017, in November 2017, when the EU Infrastructure Investment Plan was presented, according to which the EU is going to invest 13 billion into the region, into Eastern Partnership region, and 732 million euros to Armenia. So it's infrastructure, building roads, airports, and these kind of things. Again, whenever we are jumping into figures, this is, you can see here, export dynamics, Armenia to the EU. Import dynamics, some kind of zigzag of cooperation in import. Rising foreign direct investments from the EU, and rising foreign aid to Armenia. Again, here we can conclude that political what are the interests toward, from the EU toward the Eastern Partnership, and particularly to Armenia. So it's political, geopolitical, economic stability in the region, economic interests, better understanding of Russia from here, control of strategic ground routes from west to east, as well as strategic reach towards Iran and China. The next actor I'm going to speak, it's Russia, and basically cooperation between Russia and Armenia is based on let's say, two pillars: bilateral cooperation, multilateral cooperation. Whenever it comes to multilateral cooperation, it's of course CIS, Eurasian Economic Union, CSTO, and the idea of Greater Eurasia. Whenever analyzing the relations between Russia and Armenia, so a couple of key strategic documents is the Strategy of National Security of the Russian Federation of 2015, Foreign Policy Concept of Russian Federation 2016, and other strategic documents. And what is interesting here, I brought this abstract from the book of Swiss historian Andreas Kepler, which basically provides kind of clue towards understanding of Russian foreign policy towards its neighbors. So what it says, that the main impetus for Russia's territorial expansion in the second half of the 17th century, beginning of the 19th century, were the geopolitical concerns to secure the borders, gain non-freezing harbors, impede seizure of border territories. And basically, we see similar approach in the books of former Prime Minister Evgeny Maximovich Primakov. Actually, this point is very interesting, and I will elaborate on this a bit later. So again, economic cooperation and dynamics. So rising export dynamics, rising import dynamics, and starting from 2013, a little bit decline in foreign direct investments. So thus, it could be concluded that Russia's foreign policy towards the region and Armenia particularly is determined by a wide range of conditions, including the necessity for strategic stability in its neighborhood. And the last actor I'm going to stop is the United States of America. And here's the analysis based on the national security strategy of the United States of America of 2017. And it emphasizes stability and prosperity in the EU and its neighborhood. It stresses special role of the NATO, energy security for Europe, also the ideas to deter Russia, China, and Iran. Interestingly, there is no special focus towards the South Caucasus in the national security strategy. And the last point, it comes with a question, and is the idea of democracy. If the United States of America continues to be interested in democratic developments around the world. So again, export dynamics with the US, there is decline, there is zigzags of cooperation in import dynamics, a little bit of rise in foreign direct investments, and there is decline in US foreign aid. However, what is interesting, very often we hear, let's say, for instance, listening to President Trump that foreign policy of the United States of America is based on political realism. They are no longer interested in democracy promotion. However, after the Velvet Revolution in Armenia, they provided additional, if I'm not wrong, 25 million to support democracy in Armenia. So there is this controversy between official position and, let's say, foreign office. Again, concluding the comparison of all the sides which are present in Armenia, and there is this cooperation with them, that all the sides need long-term strategic stability, not only in Armenia, but in wider region. They also need better connectivity and cooperative coexistence. And from this perspective, so I came from one side, for stakeholders towards Armenia. Now, second approach from Armenia, how Armenia cooperates with the stakeholders. So Armenia is a member of the Eurasian Economic Union. At the same time, recently signed comprehensive and enhanced partnership agreement with the EU. Simultaneously, we are a member of the CSTO, and we are part of IPAP with the NATO, and we have missions in Afghanistan and Kosovo with NATO mission. There is also this potential integration into the Belt and Road Initiative, and we are part of TEN-T. At the same time, Armenian diaspora could be a bridge for strategic knowledge of Russia, of the EU, and the EU. At the same time, we have the strategic knowledge of the Middle East, and as it was told, the geographical location on the crossroads. And from here comes the main question: can Armenia become a hub for the Eurasian cooperation? The short question is yes, this can be achieved if neither side feels threatened in short, medium, and long term in and from Armenia. having an opportunity for positive cooperation with all other actors in Armenia and with Armenia. And some conclusions based on what was presented to you. So all the sides presented in the research are interested in mutual positive cooperation. The demand of time for 4 global centers of power is to change their approach toward the small states in the region and provide the empowerment of the small and medium-sized countries, reject the idea of spheres of influence, and the rejection of the idea of spheres of influence will provide much larger room for positive cooperation and provision of long-term interests for all the sides. At the same time, the more independent and self-sufficient are the small and medium-sized states on the ground, the easier it is for the centers of power to collaborate with them and use them as a hub to develop relations with the other stakeholders. And when it comes to Armenia, Armenia needs a clear understanding and mechanism to trace the changing strategic environment in the world and in the region. We need clarification of our interests toward the global stakeholders. At the same time, we need a clear strategy how to deal with them. It should demonstrate, Armenia should demonstrate proactive approach and not to wait what Washington, Brussels, Moscow, and Beijing will offer. At the same time, Armenia can strategize, becoming the leader and the locomotive of tighter regional cooperation. And last but not least, there is strong necessity to continue the process of development of strategic elites with strategic knowledge and connections inside of Armenia. Thank you for your attention.